All right, guys, we are here with another championship transformation, one of our clients who has been with us for a little while. So this is a longer term story that he's going to share. I'm going to let him tell his journey. What is your name?
My name is Doug.
All right, Doug. How old are you, Doug?
I'm in my really late 40s.
Late 40s, 40, late 40s years young. So
Mhm.
it sounds like hitting close to a certain milestone. But we
Mhm.
won't talk about that yet. What do you do for
Okay.
work?
Me, I'm a vice president of finance at a manufacturing company.
Okay, Vice President of Finance. So it sounds like a lot of sitting.
It is. I'm standing right now. I have a stand-up desk, so I
Oh,
do
was
start
that a
quite a bit.
recent change? Or did you always have a standing desk?
It's pretty recent, just the last few months.
Nice, nice.
Mhm.
That's one way to make your job less sedentary for sure.
Mhm.
But let's
Yeah.
talk about before you started with us. I think you've been a member now for with us for how long?
I think 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Mhm.
That's a good amount of time. What was your fitness and health like before you joined us?
Um, well, it was, I know I joined sort of after the COVID period, so the few years before that, it got quite lethargic. I think just I don't know. I've gone to gyms every now and then before, but it was really hard to find something I could stick with over time. So just yeah, it wasn't. You asked me how my fitness was. It probably just wasn't there. It's probably the best way to to put it.
Non-existent.
Yeah, I just
Non-existent.
couldn't find something to stick with. Really, that was the hard part. Yeah.
Okay. What did you try during that time?
Well, I had some big box gyms, some other smaller gyms. I tried running on my own, biking on my own, uh, but I don't know. I just couldn't stick with it that well.
What do you think was missing?
Um, it's a good question. Probably the community. I found it was a lot easier when you have people with common goals in mind.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. Like the group, I always say there's three types of accountability. There's like a mentor accountability, so having somebody that guiding you through it. There's always a peer accountability, which is someone else that you're doing it with, and also group accountability, which is something you talk about when you have a community of other people who are kind of on the same mission. So
Mhm.
you found missing a lot of it was the group accountability. Maybe it sounded like even a little bit of a peer accountability as well.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Where were we at like maybe share some body stats or anything like that that kind of you weren't happy with before you started with us? What like and what kind of made you decide to I know you it sounds like you tried to do a lot of things, but
Mhm.
what was it that kind of got like where was your body and health like stats wise?
Like, yeah, that's a good question. I think I don't know, my weight was probably the highest ever when I joined Fight Fitness. So just the body fat percentages, and my kids were getting older. I wanted to do more things with them, but I couldn't handle it that well. So if they wanted to go for bike rides or go to the park, it was more of a chore than it should have been.
Yeah. So you felt that like drain. It was almost like, oh, you want to go to the park and you're like, ah, I don't have the energy or I don't
Yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
good. And that's kind of like the kicking. You're like, oh, I need to do this something. So you decided to come up with us, join
Mhm.
us. Did you start with the challenge?
Yes, I did. I started with the 6 week challenge,
Sweet.
but it went quite. Excuse me, it went quite well at the time. I think I probably lost about 20 pounds on the challenge, but I don't know. I've one thing I struggled with more was not gaining the weight back than losing it in the first place, right? So that was what. So it didn't work out perfectly the first time. So that's what I'm going to have to focus on this time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, not so much losing it, but just maintaining yourself.
Maintaining it.
I felt like it feels really good after you lose some weight and you see some differences in yourself, and I don't know, you start to feel invincible. And I started just doing whatever I wanted to, and then I got back to some of my old habits. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think
like
that's
I said,
and it's not you're not the only one that goes through that, right? Because I think when anybody that does starts off with a 6 week challenge, they go all in. It becomes like 100% focused. They get really good results, but they don't know which habit or which thing to because there's a lot that we give people to start off with, but they don't know which one to focus on. So let's talk about like figure out what the keystone habits are. What are the key ones that you want to maintain continuously and build on those because those habits take longer to build over time. But you've still done phenomenal. I mean, I think one of the keystone habits that you've maintained is regular workouts. You've been with us 2.5 years. How often are you coming out to workouts?
probably 3 to 4 times a week. Yeah, and it's a mix of kickboxing, the semi-private classes, personal training, and the HIIT classes as well.
So even though you've like lost the weight, maybe it hasn't been perfect maintaining it. It sounds like you've been able to maintain 3 to 4 workouts per week.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, which is
absolutely.
amazing considering the 2.5 years prior, you were having a hard time sticking to anything.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Well, there's lots of options too. Sometimes 6 a.m., sometimes 6 p.m. or in the middle of the day. So there's lots of time options available too.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. So like having the options available, sticking to it, I think that's your keystone habit. The fact that you're able to maintain 3 to 4 workouts per week, which is awesome. Being with us for this long, I mean, you've probably gone through, quite a bunch of different classes. Anyone that's your favorite type of class or something that you love doing or look forward to?
Oh, I prefer the hit classes over everything else, and that's probably just the familiarity with the exercises. Because I know kickboxing was something that was brand new to me, so also fun. But I still preferred the hit classes
Nice.
just from the energy and it's more of a feels like more of a group effort because it's not your
Nice.
individual bag. You're spending more time with
Yeah.
other clients.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's a good point. Like the kickboxing class, they tend to be a little bit more independent, whereas fit class, you're doing it as a team, um,
Mhm.
which is awesome. Now, I want to talk about other goals. So I know weight loss was a big thing for you. You've done really well. You've lost 20, I think in total it's down 25 pounds you've lost, right? From what you've said.
Yeah, so I think it's so the first time I did the 6 week challenge, I did gain a lot of weight back, and then this time I started focusing again this last January, so I lost about
That's
25 pounds
amazing.
again. So this year I have to, or this time I have to keep it off.
Yeah, that's right. But not only the weight loss, but you've also picked up. Let's talk about like in the previous years, things accomplishments that you've done because you're not only training with us, you're actually training for events like running and cycling. Maybe you want to share some of that.
Oh yeah, so last year, yeah, the Sporting Life 10K, that was my yeah, the best time I ever got. I did it, used to do it many years ago too, but last year was the best time I ever got. It was about 55 minutes. I did the Bike for Brain Health last year, the 50-kilometer version. This year I'm going to do the 90-kilometer version. And then I did the Waterfront Half Marathon last October, and I'll work on beating my time this year too.
That's amazing. Was it the first time that you did a half marathon?
No, I did one quite a few years ago too,
Okay.
but it's been a while. Yeah.
And how did you do compared to before when you ran it?
I was about 10 minutes worse this time, but
Okay.
I was much younger the first time I did it.
Okay,
Yeah.
but let's focus on the positive. The positives are the 10K
Yeah.
run. You ran it faster
Yeah.
than ever. You started
Yeah.
picking up cycling, which is awesome. But you did a 50K, and you're even going for a longer one this time. So I think it's a
Yeah.
testament to your consistency in your training because, being able to do those types of events. I think a lot of people don't know how much strength you actually need or how important strength training is to prepare for endurance events. And the fact that you could do it is a testament to your consistency.
Mm. Yeah, it definitely helps. Yeah, it's and well, and that and carrying around 25 less pounds
There you go. Less.
helps a lot too.
That's right.
Yeah, you don't always think about it that way, but it really helps.
Yeah. Yeah. So you touched on, I was going to go into future goals. So you touched on stuff that you're planning to do this year. You're planning to do a longer bike ride this year and
Mhm.
again, half marathon again in the fall. Are those your major goals?
Yeah, those are my major goals. So I'm just gonna have the Sporting Life 10K this year, the bike ride, and then the half marathon. So I'll just pick a few things to focus on and
Got it.
try to do well in a few things.
There you go. You got a performance goals. Any body compositions for yourself body composition goals for yourself this year?
Um, mm, I'd probably like to get my body fat down to 25%. So it's still a little ways to go, but that would be a longer term goal. I'm trying to reach my first goal by the end of March, so I have another week to go, and then after that I'll reevaluate.
That's all. Love it. At least you got numbers. And I think that's the important thing, like setting smart goals, setting specific measurable goals. You've got the performance goals of running it, the events. You've got body composition goals, which is awesome. And you got your keystone habits attending 3 to 4 days per week, which is awesome. Now, being a long-term member and like having the success that you have, like what is like what is some advice you'd give to someone that was just starting out their journey?
Mm, I think for starting the journey at Fight Fitness, it was just I don't know. It was my first time trying like a sort of more independent gym, and I think one of the hardest things was probably just showing up for the first class. right? And after that, everyone's welcoming and everyone just takes care of you. So just come and try it.
Just come and try it. I always tell people the heaviest weight in the gym, you know what it is? Which one it is?
To yourself.
Oh, that's a good one too. That's right. Lifting yourself. Actually, that's a really good one. It's lifting yourself off the couch. But
Yeah,
but I say the heaviest weight in the door is the front. The heaviest weight in the gym is the front door. That's because you
yeah,
once you open that one up, you get in there and then you gotta take that step inside. You gotta take that first step. I think that's the key with anything. So love that
yeah.
advice. Just get started. Anything you want to share with like other coaches that have supported you through this journey of yours?
Um, well, I've had support from a lot of people over the last couple of years. A lot of it was with Joy, I have to admit. But I mean, all the classes have been great with everybody. I use Joy a lot for the personal training. She's just very. I'm not getting any younger, so she's very careful, right? So just to make sure your form is perfect and you're doing everything right. So that's what I really appreciated.
That's awesome.
The commitment from her and the rest of the coaches as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. We try. And Doug does a lot of like the classes, but he also does personal training, which by its nature, personal training is very personal to your goals and your limitations, and which is why it's a higher. You got to be a little bit more careful, a little bit more customized with the programming. So, Doug,
Mhm.
well, Doug, thanks so much for sharing your story. I appreciate it, man. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you crushing your goals in the next year with the 10K and the 20 and the half marathon and hitting your body comp goals.
All right, thanks, Joey. Appreciate it.
Thanks.